Not long after she planted the stolen items in Uchechi's bag, the village buzzed with whispers of the stolen items, and before one could bat an eyelid, angry village youth stormed Uchechi's garden, with one of the men grabbing her bag for research. He poured out everything in the bag, and behold, on the ground lied the missing items. Fear and confusion gripped Uchechi, unable to comprehend how such an item had found its way into her possession. Once upon a time in an African village lived a humble couple, Uzonna and Ego. The couple were farmers and they had just a daughter. They both cherished their only daughter, Uchechi, with all their hearts. Uchechi was an epitome of joy and innocence. The couple's life was filled with joy and contentment. As their daughter, Uchechi, grew older, she became their pride and joy. She followed her parents to the farm most times, and once Uchechi started displaying an extraordinary gift for grafting plants. She practiced the art of merging different plant varieties into a single thriving entity. As the days went by, Uchechi's passion for grafting grew stronger. She spent lots of time in her father's garden experimenting with various combinations of fruits and trees. Her skill blossomed, and she was loved and respected by the villagers for her remarkable talent. One day, Uchechi decided to create something truly unique, a tree that bore multiple fruits on its branches. And with meticulous care and precision, she crafted wonder, a star apple tree intertwined with branches of mangoes and avocado pear. It was a sight to behold. People marveled at the sight of different fruits flourishing together on a single tree. Uzonna and Ego watched their daughter with a mixture of apprehension and admiration, knowing that one day she would spread her wings and explore the world beyond their village. Uchechi, aside being talented, was equally obedient and respectful. She treated and welcomed all who visited her garden right, sharing the fruits of her labor and knowledge with warmth and hospitality. As seasons passed, Uchechi's garden became a sanctuary of biodiversity and wonder, attracting botanists, scholars, and curious minds eager to learn from her wisdom. Her fame spread across her village, and she was invited to royal gatherings and prestigious events to showcase her extraordinary creations. Yet, amidst the admiration and recognition, Uchechi remained humble, rooted in her love for the land and the simple joys of nurturing life. For her, the true magic of grafting was not just in the fruits it bore, but in the connections it forged between people and nature. And so, the farmer's daughter who grew up with the gift of grafting plants continued to tend her garden, her legacy growing with each new tree she cultivated. As Uchechi continued to gain popularity and respect in the village, envy and resentment shimmered among some of the parents, particularly towards Erimma, a woman known for her deceptive smile and cunning ways. Behind her facade of amiability seated jealousy towards Uchechi. She thought to herself, why can't my own daughter have this talent? Erimma desires Uchechi's extraordinary gift for her daughter. Each time Erimma witnessed Uchechi's success and the admiration she gained from the village, a pang of bitterness gnawed at her heart. She longed for the same recognition and acclaim for her own daughter, Nneka. Driven by her envy and malice, Erimma made a devious plan to fulfill her heinous desires. In this African village stood a strict rule, one that forbade stealing under any circumstance. This rule, enforced with unbendable resolute, was the cornerstone of the village ethos, a sacred path upheld by generations. For centuries, the villagers abided by this rule, understanding the grave consequences of transgression. It was believed that stealing not only robbed individuals of their possessions, but also eroded the trust and unity that bound the community together. In the center of this village square, an ancient tree stood tall as a solemn reminder of this rule. Its branches were filled with heavy chains. The tree was known as the Tree of Justice. It served as a grim demonstration to the consequences of stealing. One day, as Uchechi was tending to her garden with unfaltering dedication, Erimma approached her with a deceitful smile and an offer of assistance. Erimma told Uchechi that she would be honored to lend her hand of help in nurturing the garden. Uchechi, unaware of Erimma's ulterior motives, welcomed the offer with gratitude. Together they worked in the farm. One sunny afternoon, while Uchechi was working in the farm, she became pressed, and while she went to ease herself, Erimma asked to help her carry her bag. Trusting Erimma's seemingly genuine offer of assistance, Uchechi was grateful for the help, and so she handed her bag to Erimma without a second thought. But as Uchechi disappeared into the nearby bush, Erimma's smile twisted into a malicious grin. This was her opportunity to frame Uchechi and rid herself of the source of her envy once and for all. With a devious glint in Erimma's eyes, she planted stolen items in Uchechi's bag, just to tarnish her reputation and remove her from the picture once and for all, just because she was gifted and her daughter was not. Envious Erimma, fully aware of the dire consequences that awaited Uchechi if caught, a punishment as severe as death, cared less. Not long after she planted the stolen items in Uchechi's bag, the village buzzed with whispers of the stolen items, and before one could bat an eyelid, angry village youth stormed Uchechi's garden, with one of the men grabbing her bag for research. He poured out everything in the bag, and behold, on the ground lied the missing items. Fear and confusion gripped Uchechi, unable to comprehend how such an item had found its way into her possession. She faced the grim reality of the accusations against her. The village elders, bound by tradition and law, convened to pass judgment on her alleged crime. Despite her protests and tears, the evidence seemed damning, and the penalty loomed ominously overhead. In the depths of despair, Uchechi found herself abandoned by those she once called friends, their trust shattered by the weight of suspicion. Her parents and few of her friends protested against the allegation, saying Uchechi had never stolen, but how the items got into her possession remained a mystery. Only Erimma knew the truth behind the planted evidence, but her conscience remained silent. As the day of reckoning arrived, Uchechi stood before the village tribunal, her fate hanging in the balance. But just as the verdict seemed inevitable, a sudden revelation shattered the facade of deceit. A witness stepped forward, bearing testimony to Erimma's malicious act of planting the stolen items. Shock rippled through the crowd as the truth emerged, laying bare Erimma's treachery and vindicating Uchechi of any wrongdoing. With justice restored and Erimma exposed, the village rallied around Uchechi, offering apologies and support in the wake of her ordeal. As for Erimma, she faced the consequences of her actions, confronting the repercussions of her envy-fueled schemes. In the end, Uchechi emerged stronger than before, her resilience and integrity shining brightly amidst the darkness of jealousy. And though scars of betrayal lingered, she found solace in the unwavering bond of her community and the triumph of truth over falsehood.